Hey everyone, welcome to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. What are we talking about this time? Well, the PlayStation Pro pre-orders are in full force, and the PlayStation Pro, they had a new blog put out that was published that includes a roundup of 14 major studios, some Sony-owned, some third-party, touting the visual and performance benefits of the PlayStation Pro. For example, Remedy Communications Director Thomas Pua? I don't know how I said Alan Wake 2, a game in which the mood and the environmental storytelling are essential, will be more immersive thanks to the addition of ray tracing. Meanwhile, Assassin's Creed Shadows technology director similarly said the PlayStation 5 Pro version of the game will have enhanced ray-traced global illumination technology, as well as improved rendering systems and an increase to the photorealism and immersion of the game. Capcom said the addition of 120 frames per second gameplay to Resident Evil Village will provide the best possible user experience and make the unique and memorable cast of characters look and even more realistic, adding greatly to the scare factor, and the action seems to have more punch than ever before. Resident Evil 4 Remake will also benefit from higher frame rates, making the dynamic action more intense, and an ultra-high resolution technology, painting vividly realistic imagery, brimming with detailed environments and more natural and beautiful visuals than ever before. Dragon Age The Veilguard technical director said the upcoming sequel will have upgraded image quality thanks to Sony's new AI-based upscalers, the PSSR. BioWare said that it's enabled ray-traced ambient occlusion with a 60 frames per second performance mode, which previously was only available to the base PS5 with 30 frames per second fidelity mode. So one common theme within this blog that was noticed is that in the developer statements, that many of them confirm that fidelity and performance mode will still exist on their PlayStation Pro ports, just with higher frame rates and resolutions. Dragon Age, Alan Wake, Star Wars Jedi Survivor are among them, while Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has a new PlayStation 5 Pro exclusive enhanced mode with 60 frames per second and a resolution on par with that of graphics mode. Insomniac, Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, Miles Morales, Ratchet & Clank, and Spider-Man 2 will all have a new default Performance Pro mode, which will have the ideal trifecta of 4K ray tracing in 60 frames per second. So, I mean, the thing about it is when Mark Cerny talked, yeah, I know it's all talk, right? But when Mark Cerny talked about the PlayStation 5, it was about merging the lines between, not having basically the performance and fidelity modes, right? Where they can basically get rid of that whole performance and fidelity portion of things and merge them together into one. And, the problem is of course they're still going to have these modes, right? They're still going to have these modes. Because even in a high-end PC, right? Even if you have a 4090 and stuff like that, some of the really high-end games, you're still not going to get 120 frames per second, 4K resolutions, and full ray tracing effects. You can, but your frames per second, your FPS, is not going to match up with the visuals, right? It's just not. I have a pretty decent computer. I have a 4080 in mine, and I can turn ray tracing on and different effects like that, but I'll get about 60 frames per second, right? Running at 1440, not at 4K. And so, it's still impressive, being able to push out, is in the idea of Spider-Man 2 with the Performance Pro mode, being able to hit a 4K resolution, ray tracing, and 60 frames per second is great. Now, will that 60 frames per second be a steady frame per second? We'll have to wait for Digital Foundry to take a look at these games. And as the PlayStation Pro, once it gets out there and more games start to utilize the PlayStation Pros, that's how it always starts with the consoles. When they first start out, it's very basic, and then as it grows and progresses, the developers learn more and more about how to utilize the technology within the box, and then it gets better over time. So that's what I would expect, is going to get better over time. These are just launch titles or launch games or games that are already out, basically, that are going to get this performance bump, right? They're going to have a performance bump. There's still going to be fidelity and performance modes. Unfortunately, we're not going to get away from those. Because even when you play on PC, even though there's not a performance and fidelity option, you're still choosing between the two, right? If you think about it, right? You're in most cases, you're not running a game, even on computer, with a high graphics and a high frame rate at the same time. You're doing one or the other, right? You're either getting nice graphics and reducing your frame rate, or you're getting a really nice frame rate, but you're reducing the graphic fidelity down, right? It doesn't mean you can't have ray tracing, doesn't mean the game's not going to look good. It's just you have to sacrifice some for the other, right? Unfortunately, we're not there where you can have both. It's either one or the other, right? Now, with more power, you can have more of that blurred line between the two, but you're still going to have that line there. And so, yeah, I mean, with the PlayStation 5 Pro, I wasn't. I mean, that's what Mark Cerny said. So I was hoping that maybe PlayStation 5. I mean, I guess they would still have to have those modes, right? But I would assume that if it detected that I don't know if it could detect that it was a PlayStation 5 Pro. I guess it can, since it has a PlayStation 5 Performance Pro mode. That it wouldn't have those options anymore, right? But they're still going to have it, because people, that still gives players choices on what they would like, right? You're not going to have that. You're not going to have everything that you want. So some people, for Spider-Man 2, for example, the Performance Pro mode, they have 4K ray tracing and 60 frames, but let's say maybe there's another mode where they could not have 4K visuals, but they can get 120 frames, and they'd rather have the frames than the ray tracing and the 4K resolution, right? And that might be the case for some people. And so, it'll be 120 on the Pro, and it'll look better than it does on, I don't think Spider-Man allows for 120 even on the base, but maybe they could have that mode for those people that have the Pro that don't care a whole lot about visual presentation, but want more FPS, because there's certain games where frames are more important, right? There's some games that you could have slower frame rates and not worry about it, and then there's some games where frame rate is what you want, is what you need. So and it's a case by case basis for everybody out there. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting, to see these games showcased and shown out there, and having different, still having the modes. So still, if you're getting a PlayStation 5 Pro, and I hope you can get one, because they're hard to get, just like everything else. Scalpers are scalping them up. So hopefully you're able, if you wanted one, that you were able to get out there and get one for yourself, one of the anniversary collection ones, the 30th anniversary ones, or maybe one of the just a regular PlayStation 5 Pro. So hopefully you're able to get one. Just remember, don't go out there and get one from a scalper. It may take a little bit of time, but especially by this time next year, probably way before then, but definitely by this time next year, you'll be able to find a PlayStation 5 Pro anywhere out in the wild. So just wait. If you got a PlayStation 5, it'll be fine. You'll be able to play all the games. And if you really want a Pro, just wait till you can easily get one and then just trade out your PlayStation 5 for the Pro, right? If that's what you want to do. But anyway, let me know in the comments down below what you think. But thanks everybody for watching. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification to stay up to date with new videos that we do all the time. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.